Hi, welcome to ICF1. For today's lesson, we will discuss the LO2, how the computer works, with the subtitle LO 2.1 Data Processing and IPO Cycle. Class, have you ever wondered how does the computer works? A computer is a machine composed of hardware and software components. A computer receives data through an input unit based on the instructions given, and after it processes the data, it sends it back through an output device. A computer works by combining input, storage, processing, and output. How does this come together to make the computer work? To better imagine how a computer works, knowing what's inside, let's watch this video first.
Computer and electronic device. You have learned that a computer is an electronic device that inputs raw data, processes it, and produces meaningful information or output. Basically, it has four main functions. It accepts data and instructions, which is called input. It works on data as per the given instructions. This is called processing. It stores data in its memory, called storage. It produces meaningful information, called output. These functions are performed in an input, processing, output cycle or IPO cycle. IPO stands for input, processing, output. A computer is made up of devices that help you to enter data, called input devices, process it at CPU, store it in a memory device, and give results on output device. The input processing output cycle can be understood with the help of an example. You obtain marks in different subjects and want to calculate the total. This is how it is done with the help of a computer. We input data and instructions. The computer works on the data on the basis of the given instructions and produces output that is useful to us. This output can again be input for further processing. For example, you can enter the total to calculate the percentage. Some important computer terms. Hardware. The physical parts of the computer are called hardware. For example, CPU, keyboard, printer, monitor, etc. Software. The programs or set of instructions that tell the computer what to do are called software. For example, Notepad, MS Paint, MS Word, WordPad, etc., which is a part of MS Office software that works with Windows 10. Data. Raw data or unorganized facts are known as data. For example, two numbers 4 and 6. Information. When data is organized in a useful or meaningful way, it is called information. For example, if two numbers 4 and 6 are added, it gives 10.
Class, the principal task of the computer is to process data. Processing of data by the computer refers to the manipulation of the data according to the instructions specified in the program being executed. So what is a data? Data can be defined as a representation of facts, concepts, or instructions in a formalized manner. For example, we have alphabets or letters, digits or numbers, and special characters or different symbols. When the data is processed, it becomes information. So what is information? Information is the data arranged in order and form that is useful to the people. It is the process data on which decisions and actions are based. Class. The entire computer functions can be broadly grouped into four basic operations, which includes input operations through input devices, storage operation through storage devices, data processing through CPU, and output operations through output devices. Computer also follow these three basic steps to operate: the input, process, and output. Input is the entering of data. Process is the changing of data to become the output. And output is the producing the results. It is called the IPO cycle or the data processing cycle. So what is IPO cycle? It is the procedure of manipulating data into become a meaningful or useful information to the users. Class, to add some details, let's watch a video again.
What is input process output for a computer? Input is a way of communication with computer. We enter data and instructions into the computer as inputs. We can enter input through input devices. Input devices are keyboard, mouse, scanner, microphone, etc. Processing means working on the data according to the given instructions. Data and instructions are provided as inputs. CPU processes the data. The output is information or final result. We can see output on output devices. Output devices are monitor, printer, speaker, etc. When we provide input to the computer, there have to be two parts to the input. One is the data. Like in the example, the data is the numbers 4 and 2. The other part is the instruction. That is, we have to tell the computer what to do with the data. Here, the instruction is multiply. In the processing phase, CPU will multiply 4 by 2. 8 is the result or final output. In this example, 3 numbers are given as data and the instruction is to arrange them in ascending order. In the processing, CPU will arrange the numbers in ascending order as per the instruction. 3, 4, 15 is the final output, which is in ascending order.
Class. The input, process, and output cycle is the most basic explanation of how users interact with a computer. During the functioning of the computer, the first stage is the input. It is where the things to work upon. The input step is where the user requests something from the computer using an input device like keyboard and mouse. The data and the instruction will be entered on your input devices. And then it carries out on the next stage, the process. The process step is when the computer takes the data and processes it internally and perform inside the CPU. And the third step is the output. Output is when the computer responds on the request that has processed. It will display on output devices like monitor and printer. The result will be displayed on it. Let's have Another examples. We will use alphabets, digits, and special characters. For the alphabets, the input would be A to Z. What will be the process? The process can be combined, rearrange, and mix. The final output or the result would be through combining letters, we can form names, text, and words. Through words, we can form sentences, and through sentences, we can form paragraph. For the digits or numbers, the input would be 0 and 9. The process can be combined, arranged, and we will use the mathematical operation for solving. The final output would be simple and complex numbers or simply the answers. For the special characters, for the input, we will use the different characters like @ sign, number sign, percentage, ampersand sign, open and close parentheses, plus sign, and etc. For the process, we can also use combine, arrange, and construct. The final output would be emoticons and smileys. For example, these three. Plus, can we also apply IPO on our daily lives? The answer is yes. To give some other examples, let's watch a video again.
We can use simple examples from our daily life to understand the IPO cycle. For making orange juice, the input needed for making orange juice is oranges and juicer. The process involves the juicer taking out the juice of the oranges. What we get as output is the orange juice. Here is another example. For turning on the TV, the input required is the remote control for the TV and the TV itself. The process is pressing of the remote and reception of the remote signal by the TV. We get to watch our favorite channel as the output. We can also understand input process output through our body parts. Our body takes input from nose, eyes, ears, and hands. So, if we are walking and there's a hole in the ground, the eyes will see it and send the input to the brain. After that, our brain processes and calculates the collected data. It will realize that we can fall and hurt ourselves, and it is best to avoid it. So the brain sends the output message to the legs and we safely jump over the hole. We see the IPO cycle in many more instances. For sharpening a pencil, the input needed is a sharpener and a blunt pencil. The process involves turning the pencil in the sharpener. The output is a sharp pencil. If we want to prepare mixed fruit juice, the input will be different kinds of fruit and the juicer. The process will be the juicer extracting the juice. We get a glass of mixed fruit juice as the output. To make a phone call, we need a phone and the number to be called. The process involves dialing of the number and connecting the call. The output is the phone conversation.
Remember, class, computers are part of our everyday life. Desktop, laptop, tablets, and even many more. Today, we are used to the fact that computers can undertake a huge number of tasks. They use their processing ability to do a lots of tasks. from calculating numbers through to running programs that cover everything from office tasks like word processing to accounting and very much more. Every task follows this input, process, output cycle. It needs certain input, carries out a process, and produces the output or the result. This is significant because it is the same way that people interact in real life. So class, do you have any questions? Do you understand our lesson? So that's all for today. Goodbye class. See you again on our next lesson. Goodbye.